Hello.
Hey, it's a new year. It's a new
So
year.
no more what it is, no more what's up. Like we're moving on to better
We have to
things
find something else.
Sorry about that.
We'll figure that out as we
go. I think
As we go.
that's okay. We can leave it behind.
I
In
wonder
the
if there
old
was
year.
some ASMR stuff when you heard me swallowing the water.
I doubt. I think it was too short.
No?
Don't
Try
do it
that
for
out.
longer.
Maybe we should
Get
we
more
should-
subscriptions from doing shit like that.
We should do an ASMR portion.
Slurping.
No? How are you?
I'm alright. Hectic start to the new year, but excited for it. Extremely enthusiastic for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm good. I am not in the mood for work as
No
usual.
one
I
ever
thought
is.
that would change, in the new year. I thought I'm gonna be more enthusiastic. No, I'm not. I'm not enthusiastic about work. I'm enthusiastic about my career. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But just not about work. But I'm good. I am. Guys. I'm also enthusiastic for the first time in my life. It's a bit
It's scary.
scary.
Because it's like, what if I'm so excited and nothing happens?
And nothing happens, exactly. You know that little voice in the back of your head that's like, no, girl, this is not going to work. Just, also, don't mind. There's like a bunch of flies here.
No, but I
what's
think
going
like
on.
when Herman Mashaba was leaving office, he was like, I'm just gonna dump a bunch of flies all over
Yeah.
Joburg because
It's a really bad
it's been a problem since I've been
Yeah,
back. And it's
yeah.
not like area specific or anything.
No,
it's just
it's
there are
everywhere.
fucking flies everywhere.
Yeah, every single way.
Terrible.
Okay.
These flies are literally like the rats of the sky. I know everyone says it's pigeons, but
No,
it's
flies are the
flies.
ones.
It's
Flies
flies.
are just disgusting. Anyway.
How was your holiday, if we can call it a holiday?
So I did have a bit of a holiday. I went to PE for about almost a week, 6 days. And that was really cool. I think for the first time last year, I was actually really relaxed, which was a very strange feeling. It was very foreign, I won't lie to you. Which is sad because, I think it's just wild, having an entire year and then having 6 days out of 365 days where you actually feel relaxed and sort of zen and whatnot. And so it just kind of, not anxious. I didn't think about much of anything. I didn't have to worry about a lot. But it kind of made me realize that I need to work on that this year because, like I said, I think it's just completely wild that only 6 days out of 365 days, that's the only time I can actually experience relaxation and just kind of calm and no anxiety and all of that. So it was all right. And then I went home. I did so much traveling, came back for a wedding, went to Nelspruit, went to Guyana. It was so hot, guys. Like, I don't know how to do it. It was like 40 degrees, like 4 days straight.
Jesus.
I'm not joking. It was so bad. But it was just good, being with family. Because I didn't go home in 2018. So I didn't see them all of 2018. So it was good seeing everyone this time. It's just now that I'm an adult, it's different. Like, it's different. You're getting asked all the time when you're getting married.
When you're having a kid. I got that a few times.
Listen, one of my aunts asked me, she's like, when are you getting married? I'm like, I don't know. That's not really in the works right now. She's like, no, you must get married. Like, you must get married. I'm like, okay.
My thing is, people ask these questions seeing damn well that this thing doesn't work for like everyone around you.
At
like
all.
Okay, my family, people don't get married much, but like a lot of people have kids.
Yeah.
And you'll get people asking you, when are you going to have kids? And I'm like, I see you niggas struggling, but you're trying to convince me to join the struggle?
Like, can you decide which one is what? Can you please? So I just kind of resolved that. I'm not offended by her asking me when I'm getting married, and she's not the only one who's asked me. My grandma asked me that and all of that. I'm not offended by it, but I just find it funny that I'm at that stage in my life right now
where people are asking you those questions with seriousness.
I never thought I'd get there because obviously my parents aren't really they're not drumming that in my ear at all. In fact, it barely comes up, if at all. So it was just kind of funny that, oh, okay, I'm at that age where people are like, you know, are looking at me and they're like, you know, it's time. But yeah, what about you?
I had myself and Luando, we had convinced ourselves that there's no way we're going to PE.
As usual.
As we do every single year. And every single year, there's always something that forces us to go.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry, guys. My digestive system is messed up. My immune system is messed up. Like, I'm still recovering from holiday and eating trash and drinking trash.
Geez.
So, yeah. But we convinced ourselves we're not going. Mm-hmm. I then had to go down to go do Imbeleko, which is the traditional ceremony of introducing yourself to your ancestors.
Yeah.
I was supposed to do it in June, so I couldn't procrastinate any further.
Yeah.
So we obviously had to go down for that. And we convinced ourselves again that we're only going to be there for like 3 or 4 days.
As usual.
And that didn't work out. Ended up being there for like 12 days, which I deeply regret, because as you're saying, like, going home isn't really a holiday.
Yeah,
like, you don't, and the older you get, the more it's not a holiday.
Yeah, and the more responsibilities you have, the more weight you have to
pull, like, the more it's wild. But it's like something as simple as, we spent most of the time going to the beach because it's really close to my grands and all of that, but it was like, even that started to not feel as relaxing because all of the kids in the family wanted to go with us.
Yeah.
So it's like, and you understand the situation isn't one where each of the parents is going to contribute financially to this trip.
So
and like a beach trip is relatively cheap.
Yeah.
But when you're doing that a lot of the time for like 3 or 4 kids, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like, financially it was draining, but also emotionally, because as you were saying, it's like, you're so different.
Yeah.
Like, outside of the experience itself being different, you're different.
Yeah.
So all the things that you experience when you're at home that might be the same things that always happen just hit a little bit different, and you react a little bit different. So I got to a point where my gran would randomly like say my name, like as in she's calling me, and I'd be so agitated because I already know that some bullshit is coming.
Yeah, something's coming.
Like, by the time I left, I was just like, I'm never coming here ever again. If I come back to PE, I'm going to get an Airbnb and I'll just see you guys like, hi, bye. Like, you know, like pop in during the day. But I can't spend most of my hours here. Like, we're different. Like, I can't be an adult in another adult space.
Yes.
I think that's what I've figured out. Like, adult
me. I was
me.
about to ask you, what do you think changed within you and with the space? Or
I think it's the absence of control.
Yes.
For me,
yes,
but
definitely.
also the absence of control for her.
Oh,
because I think the thing is, with especially older women in families, matriarchs, which is my grand's role, she's always in control of every single dynamic.
Yeah.
And with all the people that she interacts with on a day-to-day, financially she's in control, like actually on every single realm.
Yeah.
So when other people come in and the dynamics now change, she needs to assert her power constantly.
Yeah.
But also when you, as a person who's used to being in control of your life and in control of yourself and in control of every like situation you find yourself in, once that power is threatened, you react in a certain way. Exactly. So that was the dynamic. It was like this power struggle, and I was like, I cannot do this again. Like, I can't be in this space. But outside of that, like, it just made me realize there's so much priming that I also have to do the next time I need to go back into that space. Absolutely. I need to be like, just ignore bullshit. Like, you only here for a few days, just, suck it in, which is something I struggle with doing. So, and then otherwise it was nice. Went to the beach a lot, turned up in the township, which is my favorite thing to do.
It's the best.
Like, Jesus, people don't sleep. Like, there's literally a place that opens at 2 a.m.
That like reminds me of when I was there in the other December, 2018 December, guys. We didn't sleep, actually. We barely slept.
It's a jump. So it's like the one place closes at like 2 a.m. The other one opens. Like, as in, it's only opening, and it's like a jam until 10 a.m. It's fucking wild. Dope experience. That's why I'm sick. Like, I've been sick for so long. It's just not ending because wow.
Yeah.
Every type of wind was hitting me from
Yeah.
the beach to late at night.
Yeah.
Did my ceremony. I'm very happy about that. Visited my mom's grave for the first time in years.
That's awesome.
It's really good. Like, feels so much lighter.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of positivity right now. A lot of spiritual woo.
Yeah.
Feeling really good about that. And yeah, it was fucked up though. On our drive back, we literally hit a monkey,
Yeah. Oh,
which
my
is
word.
very hectic.
Yeah.
Fucked up the radiator and the bumper. But no one was injured or anything,
good,
so
yeah.
we're all good. We're all good.
Yeah. And actually, while you were speaking about home, it made me realize that having been back now, I kind of saw the dynamics for what they are.
Yes, it's
the
that as
family
well.
Dynamics for what they actually are.
Not for, and that's something I had to learn last year.
Yeah.
Like, when you actually see the thing for what it is,
Yeah.
and not for what it is to the people you care for.
Exactly. It was like, whoa.
It's a lot.
Okay,
And to
like-
realize that people you love are also wrong.
Yes, that was the biggest thing for me, that, you know, I realized that the people that I love, or that I grew up, not idolizing, but I grew up kind of
Having a certain perception.
I had a certain perception of them, which is really all on me, are completely different. And most times they're wrong. And really, really badly wrong. And so that was a really strange sort of discovery when I realized that, oh, okay, this is what's happening in this family right now. And
these are the whys. These are the true whys.
And also, what is my position as, I'm not going to say the next generation, I'll say that maybe the current-ish generation. Because there is that, in as much as it's easy for us to detach ourselves from everything that's happening. The older you get, the more difficult it is.
Yeah.
Also, the more you're involved. So, you know, for example, they have no problem talking family stuff around me now. You know, it's getting to a point where I get to
have your input.
Yeah, although I mean, I just stay quiet. But it really was it was an eye opener for me, because it's like, how do we then, you know, as soon as my parents are sort of out of the game, how do the rest of us take it forward?
Yeah.
You know, what do we do? How do we do it? You know, do I just detach? That's easy. But also part of me just feels like, one, it's an easy cop out. Two, families, not all I have, but my family is my family.
You know, it's a very interesting thing that you're bringing up, because when I was at home in June, had a very interesting chat with an uncle of mine, and it made me change my initial ideas of how I was going to conduct myself in my adult life in relation to my family as a whole, like in terms of my father's family and my mother's family in general, because the approach that I was like going to take was just detach,
Yes, exactly.
and just be that cousin who shows up for like funerals and all of this stuff. But I realized the damage that does too, because by virtue of doing that, you enable a lot of bullshit, because you basically become neutral. Like you're not involved, but a lot of wrong can be stopped. And I've seen what that can do, especially when you're actually a person of great influence within a family. And like I almost want to make the example of some of our parents have the power to actually stop a lot of the shit that's happening, but they like, no, I'm above all of this, and I've removed myself from this. I'm not getting involved. But at the end of the day, you have to get involved when the shit hits the fan. Outside of it being family, like when it gets to the point of it's so destructive that like people are dying, people don't have funeral plans, kids aren't going to school, kids are going to jail, like all of, and these are all realities that like, they sound so foreign, they sound so far away, but they're literally so close, and some of them are inside the house. So it's like that, ignoring that or distancing yourself from that eventually only leads to one place. And it's like, how comfortable are you with actively having a hand in things getting to that point by being oblivious or by acting like you're not involved at all. So it was very weird, because even with my gran, for the longest time I'd like be like, yeah, everyone's always picking on her, like everyone's always wrong. And this holiday, I realized these are where your faults are. Like this is how you're complicit. Like this is this. And it was just like, whoa.
Yeah. Ooh, girl.
Because literally seeing, like, it was an important thing in learning that it's important. And I think this has come up before, but it's important to back the issue and not people.
And not people, exactly.
And I think that's what this holiday also cemented, because fuck, man, like I heard some hectic shit, like hectic things. And one of the scary things for me was also just realizing how you change, but the environment stays the same or gets worse. Yeah. Like every time I go home, it's worse. Like not in terms of like inside my household,
but
like
in the family as a whole.
In the family as a whole, like extended family, and also in the community as a whole. Because like I'm from one of the poorest townships in PE, and the levels of like destruction are on another level. Alcohol consumption, HIV and AIDS, like it's just poverty like on another level. And it's so sad growing up with people, and you get the opportunities that you get, and every time you come back home you see your friends that you used to play with, and where they are is very different. And you guys, it like you can't relate to them anymore. And sometimes it's even your cousins. That's one of the saddest things. But like one sad thing is just like my one cousin was telling me about the stuff that's happening with our other cousin and her children and the negligence and all of that. And I realized that the way she was telling this thing, it was like, it didn't weigh the same to her as it did to me. Like to her, she was just telling me because it's like, this is so shameful, it's gossip, how can she? But to me, I was like, fuck, this is like an actual issue. Like, how have you not alerted like child protection services? Like, how is this something that everyone knows and nobody's doing anything about it? And I then realized that there's so many of these cases, and like we'll watch movies like Precious and you're like, whoa, that's so terrible, how can this mother do this? But there are literally people like that within our own families. Like there are literally people like that next door or whatever. Like it's so, growing up has just made me realize that there's so much fucked up shit, and it's closer than we think it is.
So close. Very close.
So that just sent
and
me.
also you don't, it's so close, and you have to kind of fight the urge to not really fight the urge, but you kind of have to be like, not that you can't save everyone, but
you have to, you know what,
assuming the position of savior also is just,
I said this to my grand. We had a cousin, she's probably 17 now. She was addicted to dick, and I told my grand, look, you can't take this girl in because it's unfair on you and it's unfair on her, because you're not in the position to help her at all. Like she literally needs to go to rehab. There's no way that you can rehabilitate this person. Like there's no way. So we need to not be narcissistic about how we deliver help. Like there are things that are out of our reach. It's unfair on us to think that we can help. It's unfair on the person as well, because you're giving them false hope. And then it's also going to create more resentment and more issues, because it's like, you took me and you promised me all of this and you didn't deliver, and now I'm worse off or whatever. So we really, really need to be careful. Like we really, really need to be careful. But I've also seen the downside of that. Like if I look at my family and I look at how like people who have been in the position to help have measured, and maybe I'm being too harsh because I'm not yet there. I'm not yet at a place where I have set amounts of resources and I have to allocate it responsibly. And I have to choose, like, because a lot of families, and I even hear when my grandmother speaks, there's a level of resentment towards her brother because she's like, he was the one that we all, like as siblings and my parents, put all the resources in him, and then he went on, he grew up, he studied, he became a teacher, and he didn't help anyone else. And it's like she's so resentful of him because it's like we put our future's on hold for you, and then you turn around and you do this. And it's like, maybe in the position that he was in, he was like, there's no way that I can help everyone here. So rather I don't help anyone at all, because that's the position some people take. And then I look at my dad and the position that he took, it's like, it was as if I help certain people, like you almost have to make a bet and say, and look at people and say, okay, this one looks like they could help. The odds are in our favor, the odds are in our favor, the odds are in our favor. And then those people that you invest in the most actually turn out to not be people that can actually end the cycle, And then the people that you didn't invest in, you realize that, fuck, if I had actually taken some resources here and given to this kid, they would be so much further and they would have been able to help here and here and here. So it's just like such a shit position to be in. I really don't know how people have survived that. And I'm a bit grateful that like it's a dynamic that I don't have to tackle, because fortunately my sister and I have had equal opportunities, and like she's on track, she's living a decent life, playing SA hockey, she's graduating, so she's gonna be okay. But you get dynamics where it's like it's unequal in the household to the point where it causes resentment and it causes more issues. And you as a person that has to make that choice as to who am I going to invest in, it's such a huge gamble. Like, I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do in that position.
It's a tough one to be in. And also at the back of your head, you have that thing of, my life doesn't really belong to me. It's not like us. Like, we can say right now, in any case, that our life belongs solely to us. No kids, no this. We don't have to send money. Well, not everybody. We don't have to send money back home. Our parents are standing on their own 2 feet, that type of thing. But for them, I do often wonder if there is that thing of, my life doesn't belong to me, and just having that resentment. I think
there is, because speaking to my dad late last year, he was just so frustrated. Like, he was even snapping at people and it was just like, you can tell that it's that realization that, fuck, I'm gonna have to go home soon, and there's so much that I'm gonna have to deal with. So I know for a fact that like for the longest time, he was like, as soon as I turn 40, my life is gonna be mine, like I'm done with everyone, and that's not the reality. And like, I think the older it gets, the more he realizes that, whoa, I'm stuck with this, like for the rest of my life. And I really don't want to get myself in that situation. But at the same time, I'm like, not being in that situation means that there's less of a chance of cycles ending. Because I know like in my immediate family, we're cool, but in my extended family, it's shaky. So it's like, what do you do?
How do you... Some part of me, as much as I know, this is one of our 2020, resolutions, breaking generational curses. How do you do that alone? That's a genuine question.
I don't think you can.
I'm not saying that it's not possible. I just, in my head, breaking generational curses also involves the people who are also suffering from those. I think
the people who are suffering, and the people that come before us, so our grandparents, our parents, and everyone else, if we're not all aligned, and if we aren't all honest about what is at the core of our issues, like how did we get here? Why are things like this? Which is something I've come to accept that like my family will never be honest about, because I've tried to like initiate that conversation, and the blame gets placed on someone else and not on like the core or the cause of all the issues, so I don't think a lot of people are ready to be honest, but also I don't think a lot of people have the privilege. Like, honesty is a privilege, because 100%. I know that I can call people out because I don't depend on them in any way. Like, even on an emotional level, I don't depend on them at all. And that's what that distance that I had been creating allows for, because I'm like, I don't care if you don't like me. This is what I see this as, and we can debate that. But like, if you're going to make it a personal thing, or you're going to subtract from the actual issue, it's cool. I don't need to be a part of this discussion because at the end of the day, I can function without you guys, which is a very dangerous mindset to have, by the way. So I think the honesty of discussing what is our actual curse, I don't think everyone
has the luxury of being honest about it. Yeah.
Because imagine having to call out your mother and say, you are actually you are the problem. Like you are the reason why X had to go do this and Y had to go be like this and
go up in flames. Oof. Yeah, like I've been thinking a lot about that since coming home. Coming back from home to my home because I also need to,
Yeah, this is your home.
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about that and just kind of how do I can't do that on my own, but also how do I get open that conversation and I've been thinking about that. I've also been thinking about how the whole obligatory you have to go home.
Yeah, so that thing ended for me.
But like, okay,
when I finished varsity and like you have to go home was kind of like more like a res thing for me. So when I finished varsity and I had my own apartment, I was like, I really don't have to do this. I didn't go home 2016, and then every year after that there's always been something that forced me to go home, like a funeral or ceremony or whatever. Excuse me, but I don't feel that obligation. Like I'm okay if I see my family at least once a year. And like in June I went home for my birthday, and because I wasn't feeling grand, work was just hectic, like life was just a lot, and I'm okay with going home when I need
to, exactly.
Like, but I don't feel, and I think especially now after the experience that I had when I was at home, like outside of my grand whiling, I think even just my experiences of my family and people that I care about, and realizing that the environment will never allow them to become like, I don't know, it sounds like a weird thing, but like, it's poverty and just struggle infantilizes you to a point where you can't move past certain things. You can't move past a bonding exercise being you sharing the traumas of the next door neighbor or the traumas of a cousin or whatever. Like you don't see them as traumas, you see them as that person's failures. Like, and I was like, this is too much for me, and I can't make this person see this thing the way that I see it. And it's burdensome because now I'm left with it alone and I'm thinking of it in that way. And maybe I'm a coward, I don't know, I'll figure it out, but I'm like, I'm good. So I think I'm going to go home way less than I was already, but I've never felt that obligation that like, I have to go home.
For me, I kind of felt not really an obligation, but more like an expectation, like, which I don't mind, by the way. Like I do like going home to see my family. So I either go to Nelspruit or go to Giyani, but I mostly go to Nelspruit because my parents are there. And then if something's happening or December, obviously, then we do go to Giyani. But my thing is sort of that thing of having to, that is your home and not the home you create for yourself.
Yes.
Until you get married. And it's like, then you have a home with your significant other or whatever. And so that is like something that I've been thinking about. I'm like, I'm sure in the back of their heads, maybe they have that thinking of like, no, she's gonna be until this, and it's like, but I wanna.
So you don't belong to you.
Yes, exactly. And I've been thinking about. I mean, at no point have my parents been like, no, you have to come home, but part of me feels there's that underlying thing.
But parents also say things in a way that like that is laced with expectation.
Yes.
So, like, they could literally say something like, oh, so you're not coming home. And it already tells you.
They're feeling some type of way.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like, things are so layered. And I've come to realize they're such bad communicators. And you also fall into the trap of communicating the way that they communicate.
Exactly.
Because I have this thing where it's like, I don't enjoy be it as if this is bang, where I'm overthinking and I'm over communicating and you're doing the least.
Yeah.
So I've gotten to a point where it's like, if you don't communicate, I'm not going to communicate.
Do it either, yeah.
And it's bad. It sounds it's toxic.
Yeah, but
I'm like, I
time,
can't.
like,
I'm tired.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's really a lot. But I feel like we've moved away from the new year, new me thing.
No, it's fine. It's still like I think it's reflections of going home and holidays.
And bringing that into the new year and how that.
How do you reconcile that?
Yeah, and how that shapes how we see ourselves in this new year.
So what I enjoy is that I don't compartmentalize well, but I've come to realize that what my life is dominantly like governed by the experiences that I create, and a huge part of my life is me, and then it's me and Lwando, and then it's me, my dad, then it's me, my grand, and so it's like most of my life is really outside of these people, even though I care for them and they're a huge part of it. But going into the new year, I know that in the spaces that I'm in, mostly, there's not much reintroduction that I need to do. Like there really isn't any reintroduction really, because all this work has been happening like throughout last year, and the podcast has been helping a lot because you literally like listening to yourself reflecting. But so much work has been done, and I'm fortunate enough to have a partner that does a lot of work on himself as well. So there's a lot of work being done on ourselves and collectively and within our space. So I'm really, really excited. Really excited to see like who I'm becoming. Because it's not like there's a template or whatever. I might realize in 3 months' time that, oh fuck, you're going down the wrong path. But like right now, I'm really optimistic, really excited to see what the podcast is going to become. Really excited to see where my career is gonna go and where my relationships are gonna go in general. So I'm very happy, and I'm fortunate enough to have faith in the fact that the spaces that I'm in mostly are ready for who I think I am right now. If they're not, I'll see and we'll figure it out. But yeah, I don't know how you're feeling.
I am like a mixture of different feelings. I'm feeling mostly really nervous.
Makes sense.
So I'm gonna have a really tough year. I already know it. I've reconciled myself with it. So I'm going to be balancing school, work, the podcast, and my relationships as well. And, other things if they do come up. And obviously I'm saying the podcast because, we're going to be doing bigger things. We're going to be doing more things, which will require more involvement and more time. And so it's not going to be easy, but it's nothing I can't do, and I have faith in the fact that I can do it. I can get through it. I just need to get through it in one piece, and not. I think that's the biggest challenge for me. That's what I'm trying to sort of figure out as best as possible. Is how can I, with all the things that require my time and my presence and my mind, how can I do it in a way that does not result in my health, whether physically or mentally being,
compromised.
Compromised. So that for me is like my biggest challenge of 2020 is how can I do this in a way that doesn't deteriorate me, and I don't know. I'm gonna be very frank with you. I do want to strike a balance. At the same time, I acknowledge the fact that you won't always do it. One thing has to fall off, but I want to make sure that one thing is not me. And it's not my health, it's not my wealth, it's none of that. And so, I think I'm really excited for what this year is bringing. I feel I feel it, career change coming.
I also feel like hectic career change. I don't know why I'm so excited.
I'm having to think about that. I'm thinking about that, in fact, a whole lot more, and just kind of trying to think of ways to sort of action it or for it to come to pass. And so I'm really excited about what's coming this year. I think it's going to be a really dope year. Also looking forward to evolving within my relationships as well, and my relationships evolving with me. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And you know, if I lose people, it is what it is. It's
Amen. It be like that sometimes.
You know, it is what it is. But you know, if it does happen, I want to leave the situation knowing that I did my best. And so that is also a thing that I have set forward for myself, to do my best.
And also give yourself a fair chance to actually do your best.
Yeah.
Because I think we often speak about wanting to do our best, but everything we're setting up doesn't allow for that at all. Like we're behaving in a way that dictates that failure is the only
sort of
outcome.
Yeah.
But set yourself up to do your best.
Definitely. And also not dwelling, not, you know, when you do mess up, not dwelling on that, you know, because sometimes when I do kind of mess up, I kind of go into the space of like, oh my God, like this is why I should be alone. This is why I should just isolate myself because I can never get X, Y, and Z right. And it's like, girl,
no,
it's tired.
It's also like we're humans.
Yeah, sweetie, like we mess up. But you know, I hold myself to an unreasonable standard, in true Virgo fashion. If there's one thing that's very correct about, you know, when I read like Virgo stuff, it's that. And so that's also something I'm like, you know, just not be unrealistic. Like, girl, come on, you know? Yes, you hold yourself to a high standard, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think, like, I want to be more realistic about my standards. Like, if I can't reach it, it's fine. You know, I don't want to berate myself. I don't want to, you know, do all of that. And also, I'm trying to get physical again, because I really let that go last year, and it also contributed to the deterioration of my health. And so part of me trying to figure out how to balance all these things that I'll be doing while making sure that I'm healthy is going to involve me eating healthier, you know, exercising more. It doesn't have to be anything hectic. It could be taking a walk. Although like, I can't take walks. Here, so I don't know what to do.
I take walks at work even.
Really? Yeah, so I'm thinking, you know, I just have to drive somewhere to a different neighborhood or to a park and just take walks or something. But yeah, there's also that. It's going to be a really dope year, man. Like, I think
10,000 steps, boys.
I think it's going to be a really awesome year. I have never had this feeling where I said with certainty,
dude, same,
that it's going to be a good year.
And I'm going to actively work towards it being a good year.
Exactly.
Like, sure.
Yeah, let's
giving myself a chance this year.
And even what we were talking about during our meeting last week is sometimes being on social media, you have that feeling inside you that for sure it's going to be a good year. And then you're also consuming all the stuff of people being anxious about their years, which is not a bad thing, by the way. We feel it too. But it manifests in just very strange ways and kind of changes how you feel about your year, but you kind of end up feeling like, okay,
it's like survivor's guilt. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like you like last year I had a really good year. But you feel bad. You feel bad when you say stuff like that. So I'm just like, let me just focus on me.
Yeah.
Sounds very selfish, but I can only speak of my experiences, and I need to center that.
Yeah.
So understand if people have their anxieties, we all have them.
We all have them, but they cannot be mine. I cannot internalize them.
Right now, I'm super, 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 super excited. Like almost every day, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited for this year.
Yeah.
Like it feels weird because it feels very foreign for me.
Very foreign.
You almost feel foolish and like naive.
Yeah, like a kid, you know.
Which is very strange. Like I really have to have a conversation with myself about positive feelings and why they make me feel like there's something that I'm missing.
Yeah, and the people in my life are always, you know, dragging me about that. I'm just like, please, shut the hell up. Like, really. Like, it's okay to feel, you know, happy that this is what's happening. I'm like, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, I need to work. I need to work against. I need to be okay with experiencing joy.
Yeah, and being, you know, the other day, I think it was last week sometime, someone else and I started getting along really well, and I was happy about it. I actually liked it, and it was pointed out like, oh, you two get along now. And I was
I hate people that do shit like that, though.
It is what it is.
I hate people. Why did you feel the need to point it out? Like we need to have an episode about snide comments, because a lot of people be throwing jabs, acting like. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it.
But yeah, in this context, it wasn't a jab shape. But no, I get what you mean. I get that often. So we're definitely going to have that episode, by the way. But yeah, I was like, yeah, it is what it is, whatever. And he was like, but dude, it's okay. Like,
but the thing is, that person was doing it because they were literally doing it to plant discomfort.
No, trust me. I know the person who did it definitely wasn't. It's because it's something they wanted. They wanted that to happen. And so it was like, oh, so you guys are actually doing it.
I don't like people that point shit out.
I hate it too. I honestly won't lie. That's why I reacted that way. I was like, nah, it is what it is. And it was like, dude, it's okay. Like, you can just be like, yeah, so yeah, we get along, and it's actually really nice. And yeah, no, I have a lot to work on.
Okay, top 2 things to achieve in Jan. I'm joking. That's a very weird. That's a very weird thing to say. No. I would never.
You bitches are always, you know,
like, these are the things I want to achieve.
I actually want to send a hearty fuck you to everybody.
We had to have a hearty fuck you.
We had to have a moment. I think we need to do a segment.
I'm listening.
For every episode, just a hearty fuck you segment. But anyway, to those of you who are capitalizing off of people's body insecurities in the beginning of the year, and it's one thing to capitalize. Although, I mean, that's a terrible word to use, but it's one thing to do it ethically and without body shaming. It's another thing when you guys are just like body shaming.
So it's one thing to want to help people. Yeah. It's another thing to want to punch down on people and make money while doing it.
And a lot of you are doing that.
I just think the gym industry is fucking filthy.
We need to talk about that.
Like
that gym industrial complex.
The fat phobia and the projection of insecurities. Hectic. But at the beginning of the year, it's always just fucking wild to see grown adults project so much. Like, if you're so happy, you wouldn't be here with these chats.
You wouldn't be asking them, how about your covers, bitch? If you don't, like, if you were so happy with your body, trust me, you would not be looking at other people. You would not be focusing on other people. Trust me. I think that is happiness.
Everyone needs to do work on themselves so that we're content enough to not be bothered.
Exactly.
But anyway, thank you so much for listening to our first episode of the year. Yes. Compliments of the season.
Yes, it's going to be a great year.
Hope the year treats you well. Hope it's kind. Hope it's necessary.
Yes. We're excited to do this year with you guys. It's going to be amazing.
Very excited.
Tell your friends about us.
Please subscribe, comment, listen on every platform, download. This is like a Justin Bieber yummy.
You can download our episodes actually on SoundCloud. If you don't have all the other platforms.
Also, guys, literally Apple Podcasts is free.
It's free.
Spotify, you can listen to podcasts for free.
Yeah, I think you just have ads.
No, there's no ads.
No, there are not ads.
There's no ads.
Google Podcasts, we don't know how it works because none of us have Android phones. So I'm very
We'll figure it out. Thank you.
Yeah.
And YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all of that.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye.